If you could see the colors around every person, whose color would you want to see the most? This girl always knew she was different, because she could see the colors that represented every person and everything around her. But there was one color she could never see, her own. Then one day, she met a girl unlike anyone else. Her color was a shade of blue she'd never seen before. The moment she saw it, she was drawn in. That blue was pure, calm, and endlessly beautiful. She couldn't help but admire the girl, even idolize her. During volleyball class, fate put them on the same team. The girl was so captivated by her that she barely noticed the game. She didn't even see the ball Anna had tossed toward her. It hit her square in the face, yet all she could focus on was Anna's gentle concern. Back in the dorm that night, she couldn't stop replaying that moment. Even in her dreams, she saw Anna's soft smile and heard her comforting voice. But one day, Anna suddenly dropped out of school. By the time the news reached her, it was already too late. She searched the entire campus, but Anna was nowhere to be found. From that day on, everything lost its color. Her world turned gray, dull, and empty. Until one afternoon, she heard someone say Anna was working at a bookstore. From then on, she visited every bookstore after class, hoping to see her again. One day, following a stray cat through a narrow alley, she stumbled upon an old, quiet bookstore. And there, just like fate wanted it, she found Anna again. This time, she promised herself one thing. She wouldn't just admire Anna from afar. She would finally have the courage to write a story that belonged to both of them. The boy slammed breakfast into her face, all because there was a tiny burnt spot on the egg. Every morning, she woke up at 5 to cook for the family. Yet no matter how hard she tried, nothing was ever good enough. Her father tossed her food in the trash. Her brother threw his entire plate at her. And that was just the start of another miserable day. While mopping the floor, her sister spilled dirty water on her on purpose. When the foster mother saw the mess, she screamed at her instead, then locked her in the dark closet for punishment. Over time, she stopped crying. She stopped hoping. Until that day, when the water was shut off mid-shower. Her clothes had vanished. Barefoot, she stepped out of the bathroom. Her sister was waiting, and with one hard shove, sent her tumbling down the stairs. All this cruelty, just because she wasn't their real daughter. Her parents had abandoned her as a baby. A priest took her in only for the monthly stipend. The only time she ate a full meal was when the police came for their routine visit, but no officer ever noticed the bruises. That night, her foster mother complained the check was too small. When the cat rubbed against her leg, she kicked it away, then told the girl to throw it out. The next morning, her brother asked where the cat was. The foster mother blamed her. Again. Soon, the boy pinned her to the floor. Every time she slowed her crawling, he pulled the rope tighter around her neck. Her sister saw it, and instead of stopping him, told him not to dirty his clothes, then kicked the girl for good measure. Still not satisfied, she grabbed a bottle of disinfectant and sprayed it in the girl's face. When that wasn't enough, she plugged in the iron, pressing it closer and closer to her cheek. The girl gasped for air as her brother's rope tightened. In panic, she threw him off, and that's when her sister lost it. She yanked the girl's hair, forced her to apologize. Every small act of resistance only brought more pain. When it was over, they kicked her out into the cold night. But before the door could close, she stormed back in. Tears in her eyes, fire in her heart, she slapped her sister again and again, until her rage finally broke free. She wanted to run away, but where can a girl with nowhere to go actually run? The next morning, she sat at the breakfast table. Her meal was a single glass of water. That's when she noticed, behind her foster father, a hunting rifle. They had heard the news. Her real mother was coming to take her home. But the foster family wasn't ready to lose their unpaid servant. And just as they planned to fight back, a motorcycle crashed through the window, landing squarely on the breakfast table. The boy made a funny face at the monkey in the cage. He thought no one noticed, but a girl standing quietly in the corner saw everything. At first, she thought her eyes were playing tricks on her, but the more she watched him, the more she realized, this boy wasn't just shy. He was hiding something. He kept his hair long enough to cover half his face, as if trying to erase his own existence. But even so, the girl had seen through him. One day, she became the target of the girls in her class. Why? Because she refused to join them in bullying the class leader. Her best friend, Anna, was furious. Their friendship shattered that day, and they stopped walking to school together. Soon, Anna started gossiping about her behind her back. But karma works fast. When Anna's own selfishness made everyone turn on her, the girl suddenly became the one everyone liked. The twist in fate made her feel conflicted. She didn't want revenge, but the pain of being left out still lingered in her heart. Then one night, while visiting a local festival, she heard a voice that froze her in place. Her mother's. Drunk and uninhibited, her mom was openly flirting with the man selling grilled skewers. Her heart sank instantly. That man was exactly her mother's type, and she knew too well what falling in love did said to her mom. It always ended in chaos. She didn't want to live that kind of life again. Not ever. Just then, she ran into that strange boy once more. This time, he was the one who spoke first. His sudden friendliness surprised her, and made her heart race. After weeks of quietly observing him, she had already fallen for him without realizing it. Now she finally had the courage to get closer. He took her to his secret spot, a place overlooking the entire town, then to a rehabilitation center, where he trained to overcome his illness. She watched him focus with quiet determination, and something inside her broke open. All the emotions she had been suppressing came pouring out. She told him everything, about Anna, about the betrayal, about her jealousy, how she had always felt small next to others, how growing up with a mother who chased love and pain had made her afraid to be feminine, afraid to be vulnerable. She had cut her hair short, stopped wearing dresses, and tried to become invisible. But in Anna's bright and carefree personality, she always saw everything she wasn't. And when she finally said it all out loud, for the first time, she felt free. The knots in her heart slowly loosened, and for once, she didn't feel like running away. She never really knew how to get along with her parents. That simple confusion pushed her down the wrong path. Before she knew it, she'd become the problem girl, bullied by classmates, shamed by teachers. Even the happy family she finally built fell apart when her husband died suddenly. One night, beaten and broken, she returned home, only to have her parents tell her she was no longer their daughter. They wanted her gone out of their house, out of their lives. And just when she thought she'd lost everything, a man appeared and said he would take her away. He'd rushed to the hospital the moment he heard she'd been hurt, and by sheer chance, he arrived just as she was being thrown out. She couldn't understand why he'd go that far for her. She was scared she'd drag him down, unworthy of his kindness or his love. But he made his feelings clear. He loved her. They got married, even though no one approved. And despite the whispers, they lived happily. Soon after, she became pregnant. But she didn't believe she could be a good mother. She thought someone like her didn't deserve to raise a child. Then she remembered all the cruel words she'd once said to her own mother. The guilt almost suffocated her. Her husband held her hand and promised, "You're not alone. We'll raise this baby together." And so they did. They had a beautiful daughter, and their little home filled with laughter and warmth again. But fate can be cruel. During a business trip, her husband caught a cold. He kept working, never saw a doctor until it was too late. He was gone. Then came the blame. Relatives accused her of neglect, of being an unfit wife, said the marriage should have never happened. She stayed silent, drowning in guilt. The life she once called happiness felt like a fading dream. Locked in her room, she tried to numb the pain, until her parents called, just to say they wanted nothing to do with her. That was the final blow. She walked to the river, thinking she could finally rest. But then a voice, her daughter's voice. She remembered the little girl she'd been neglecting since her husband's death, and suddenly, she ran home. When she opened the door and saw her daughter waiting by the entrance, smiling through tears, she realized she still had a reason to live. The girl never imagined she'd be abducted by aliens, and all for the sake of reproduction. They wanted to understand how life begins, to perfect their species and ensure survival. But just as they were about to begin the experiment, a shadow darted out from beneath her skirt, a ghostly creature that sank its fangs into the alien's core. That monster was actually a boy, possessed by a vengeful spirit. He'd sacrificed himself to save her, merging with the entity and becoming something inhuman. It all began that morning, when Anna's boyfriend asked to borrow money. When she refused, he threatened to hurt her. Left with no choice, she gave in. Angry, helpless, yet too weak to resist. The truth was, she only liked him because he looked like her longtime crush. And when she was lost in her search for real love, she once saw a boy next door being bullied. She sat beside him, and the bullies stopped. That small act made her his hero. The boy grew attached to her, sharing stories of aliens and ghosts, arguing that both were real. They made a bet. Whoever failed to prove their belief would have to be the other's servant for a week. So Anna went to explore an abandoned hospital, while the boy entered a long-forgotten tunnel. They stayed in touch by phone, until the line went silent. In the tunnel's darkness, he found trails of blood. By the time he realized something was wrong, it was already too late. The curse had taken hold. Meanwhile, Anna woke to find herself surrounded by aliens. Their kind had no females, so they replicated themselves instead of reproducing. That's why they couldn't evolve. Now, Anna had become their solution. The boy, now fully transformed, had lost control of his body. Their connection, broken. As the aliens revealed their true forms, Anna understood what they intended to do. She struggled, but their telekinetic power held her still. Just as they were about to proceed, her phone suddenly rang. A blinding light flashed, and the boy burst through the wall. He was thrown against it in an instant, but when he saw the aliens, his eyes filled with wonder. He'd dreamed of meeting them since childhood, always wishing for alien friends. Now, faced with the truth, he realized how wrong he'd been. Summoning his last bit of strength, he tried to save Anna, as the aliens moved closer. Then, through the chaos, Anna remembered something something her grandmother once taught her. In the next heartbeat, her power awakened. They said the cherry blossom tree was magical, but no one expected it to give birth to life itself. At first, the man thought she was an abandoned baby. He brought her home and gave her a name, but soon, he realized something strange. The child refused to eat anything. She only craved the soft pink foam secreted by the cherry blossom tree. Because of that, her growth slowed to a crawl. Even after 10 years, she still looked like an infant. It wasn't until the man's death that she finally learned to walk. Afterward, her older brother took over her care, but her senses began to fade. Her hearing, her sight vanishing little by little. Sometimes, she would fall into months-long comas, and every time she grew ill, the cherry blossom tree would wither. But when she recovered, the blossoms bloomed again. Generations passed, yet the girl remained. Eternally young, loved by those who inherited her secret. 80 years later, a man named Kevin arrived, and what he discovered changed everything. While studying the tree's strange foam, he suddenly heard a soft cough. A girl stood before him, beautiful, timeless. Just as he was about to speak, another man appeared. "She can't hear you," the man said coldly. Then he tried to take her away. Kevin sensed something was wrong. He offered to examine the girl's illness, but the man grew defensive. "I won't let anyone touch our family's treasure," he shouted. That night, Kevin secretly returned. He caught the man collecting the pink foam from the tree. The man claimed it eased his pain, then confessed the foam was the reason the girl stayed young. But Kevin knew that wasn't true. The foam couldn't grant eternal life. He stayed the night to investigate further. In the man's study, Kevin found old records. The girl had lived far longer than 80 years. Suddenly, a violent cough broke the silence. The girl was spitting blood. The man rushed in, fed her a sleeping potion, then lifted an axe, walking toward her motionless body. He was going to replace her dying organs with another's, to keep her alive forever. Kevin burst in just in time, stopping him. The girl didn't want anyone to get hurt, but the man refused to stop. Kevin kicked over a candle, flames spreading fast. He carried the girl out of the burning house. The cherry blossom tree, glowing in the firelight, blossomed one last time. A breathtaking farewell born from the girl's final breath. As her body turned to dust, the once living tree turned to lifeless wood, because even miracles have an end.